Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of Craven County where a large police presence is being reported in Wilmer after the sheriff says a possible sighting of Conley has been detected. Now Sheriff Chip Hughes said, quote, "This is a relatively new sighting within the past 30 minutes. We don't know for sure if it's him, but it's a good lead, and like I've told you before, we follow up every lead thoroughly," end quote. Now, Hughes said a law enforcement officer spotted a man crossing the railroad tracks. Quote, "They got a decent look at him, pinpointed the location, and we immediately, within minutes, had bloodhounds that are currently tracking right now. And that's why you see this support hovering in this area," end quote. Again, that was Sheriff Chip Hughes with that quote. The manhunt for Conley is now in its 8th day, and Hughes says there are 75 men and women now on the ground. Hughes says that they are utilizing multiple special response teams, and last night they deployed the SBI's team because they have a lot of night vision capabilities. The sheriff says that some 40 to 45 sheriffs across the state have offered their resources. Yesterday, Hughes said a sighting of Conley was reported to them from a ring camera on Highway 43 in the Vanceboro area. Local, state, and federal agencies search the area day and night, both on the ground and in the air. Deputies say that based on the items found during the track and search, the man seen in the ring camera footage is in fact Conley. Now, he was last seen wearing desert sand-colored coveralls. He is wanted for killing his grandmother at her home outside Havelock on October 25th. He's been on the run since last Wednesday after allegedly stabbing a deputy who confronted him at a fast food restaurant. The sheriff's office urges anyone who sees Conley not to approach him and to call 911 immediately. The U.S. Marshals and Craven County Crime Stoppers are offering a reward for information leading to Conley's arrest. If you have any information on this case, please call the Craven County Sheriff's Office at 252-636-6620. Or you can reach out to Craven County Communications at 252-633-2357. And now we want to turn our attention to the ongoing government shutdown that is now in its 35th day, making it the longest the government has been shut down in U.S. history. NBC's Garrett Hake has more from Washington.
It's a record no one wanted to break. Now, 36 days in, the shutdown standoff is officially the longest in history. As the partisan gridlock continues in Washington, long lines and delays piling up at airports across the country, prompting this dire warning from the Transportation Secretary if the stalemate lasts into next week.
You will see mass flight delays, you'll see mass cancellations, and you may see us close certain parts of the airspace because we just cannot manage it because we don't have the air traffic controllers.
Secretary Duffy says staffing shortages in control towers accounted for nearly half of the flight delays Monday, as air traffic controllers and TSA workers continued to work without a paycheck. There's also new uncertainty this morning for millions of Americans who rely on federal food assistance, with long lines also growing at food banks nationwide.
Yeah, I was making it off my stamps.
But they're not available anymore.
No.
It comes after President Trump posted Tuesday that SNAP benefits, quote, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open the government and not before.
They really are using hunger as a political weapon.
Still, the White House says it's complying with a federal court order to use emergency funds to keep the program up and running, suggesting the president was referring to future payments.
We're complying with the court's order, and we're getting that partial payment out the door as much as we can and as quickly as we can, but it's going to take some time.
While in Congress, Democrats holding out for concessions from Republicans on health care, saying premiums for those on Obamacare are expected to skyrocket. Both sides pointing fingers.
I'm hopeful again that this is the week in which the Democrats will conclude that this is not a good thing.
So far, they have come to the table to negotiate exactly 0 time.
And again, that was NBC's Garrett Hake reporting. We now turn to your weather forecast, looking at beautiful sunny skies right now across eastern North Carolina, but it's the air temperatures today that should open your eyes a little wider. We are looking at some real warmth today. 70 degrees already in Greenville, southwesterly wind coming in at about 11 miles an hour. Overall, a very comfortable day. Yesterday, we spent most of the day in the mid-60s. Some areas did make it into the upper 60s. Today, though, we're kind of blowing right on past those numbers because we've got sunshine and a south-southwesterly wind, which in Washington is blowing in at about 13 miles an hour. Starting to see more of the 70s pop up. It's not just Greenville. We've got Kinston, New Bern, and Jacksonville all joining the party. Stumpy Point, though, still the hot spot in the east. Currently 72 degrees in the southeastern corner there of mainland Dare County. Now, as far as what we've got for this afternoon, a little bit more warmth on the way, thanks to, again, southwesterly winds and more sunshine. The winds, though, are going to be shifting later on this evening. We've got a dry cold front that'll roll through late tonight into the early hours of tomorrow morning, giving us more of a northeasterly breeze for at least, I would say, the daylight hours of your Thursday. But by the time we get to around 11 o'clock, this is Thursday at 11, seeing those winds slowly start to swing around to the east to southeast. And that's what's going to bring us even more warmth as we head through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday, we could be talking about some areas possibly reaching the low 80s. Not quite there with your 8-day forecast yet, but we do have 79 on your 8-day. We'll get to that coming up here in just a few moments. Want to take you through what to expect through the next several hours of your afternoon. Low 70s expected. Anywhere between around 71 to about 73 degrees is where most areas are going to end up with your daytime highs today. By 5 o'clock, we'll be at 67 degrees. By 6, we'll be at 63, and by 7, we'll be at around 61. Thanks to the southwesterly wind, we're really not going to be getting too chilly tonight, but the winds shifting will bring about some cooler weather throughout the day tomorrow. 52 degrees by 7, not too bad. Certainly warmer than where we were earlier this morning, but it's those northeasterly winds that will keep those afternoon temperatures more regulated and a little bit closer to the 60-degree mark versus the 70-degree mark. Coming up tomorrow evening, again, staying clear, but those winds starting to swing around to the southeast certainly bring us a little bit more promise for more heat as we approach the upcoming weekend. Here's a look at that incoming cold front. There it is, driving its way through eastern North Carolina. Very little cloud cover associated with that front, which also kind of translates into no rain with that frontal system. And then we get into your Friday, where a high pressure system is going to be pretty much smack dab right over eastern North Carolina, leading to, again, more of a calm breeze. But as that high works its way offshore, it'll encourage more of a southwesterly wind. But that cold front you're seeing there across Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri, that is a front that will be quite a bit stronger than the one we've got coming up tonight. Right now, we're anticipating about a 25-degree drop in air temperatures as that cold front rolls through. This is going to be an early season cold blast that's going to drive overnight temperatures down near and possibly even below the freezing point. Here's Monday. Very cold Arctic air drifting all the way down into northern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and northern Alabama, even northern Georgia getting in the mix. All of that cold air will make it far enough south to get it into eastern North Carolina and kind of up and around the mountains. So yeah, we are also looking at some pretty frigid conditions coming up next week. Frigid considering the time of year. Usually, again, we get at least another week or two before we really start to see that first freeze across the east. But here we are this year, maybe happening a little bit earlier than what we've seen over the past several years. 67 degrees for tomorrow, 72 Friday, 77 on Saturday. Of course, ECU taking on Charlotte for the homecoming game at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. 77 degrees on Saturday. Going to feel quite nice for a hopeful Pirate victory. 79 degrees on Sunday comes with, again, a pretty good chance of rain late Sunday evening. But more importantly, again, now about a 25-degree drop, technically 26 degrees, but we're not going to split hairs. Even then, it's substantial. It is a substantial front that's really going to bring about some much cooler conditions coming up next week. 53 degrees Monday, 49 for your high on Tuesday of next week. Yeah, get ready for a chillin', of course, Monday night into Tuesday morning. First alert weather day because of that potential frost and freeze across most inland areas in eastern North Carolina. That's all we have time for today's noon news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday.